to the bold analysis. I have made 3 political observations today that made me understand one thing, that President William Ruto and his handlers are actually the ones stoking the public anger. Because public anger is one of the recipes for the current endless protests going on. So in this podcast, I'm going to look at we're going to make these 3 observations, but then answer a very important question. I am convinced the state is actually stoking public anger. So what is their end game for that? And that will be interesting bit to look at. What exactly do they want to achieve? Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting this podcast. We do this each and every day because of your good support. So make sure you subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free. This channel is unique because we don't rush to do political analysis. For us to do an analysis, we do in-depth research. And I can promise you that the piece I put up together is worth listening. Today is 4th of July and 7th, which is on Monday. Kenyans are already hyping the upcoming Sabasaba protest. So what I was expecting this time is a reconciliatory tone or a conversational tone of state's readiness or preparedness to have a conversation with its citizens. But I have listened to the first incident is Oscar Sudi threatening the young people that if you go to the street, you will be met by 20 bullets. And in a very vicious threat, he's saying, wataiba kura, watajaza, hata isipotosha.
Tunataka sasa tutenge wale wa maandamano. Kama ni kapchana baba unataka kufanya maandamano, tunatenga, unajua unafanyia kiwanja, unaenda paka pale, unarudi, unarudi. Maandamano yanaishia hapo. Hiyo tunaenda kupitisha. Ndio kila mtu akuwe na mahali pake pa maandamano. Ukipita hapo shauri yako. Wewe kama mwananchi, unajua samani ulikuwa ukiona chief, hata assistant chief akikuja, unaanza kuwa na wasiwasi. Ukiona polisi, hata unaweza kimbia na hakuna makosa umefanya. Lakini sasa siku hizi unaona watu wanaenda police station, wanataka kwenda kupiga polisi, wanaenda kuiba bunduki. Hiyo tumesema mtu yote atarudi kwenda police station, unakutana na risasi 20, sio moja. Na kwa nini wengine hapo activist wengine wanasema ati mwanzo kupitisha shoot and kill, sijui nini. Wewe ni mjinga. Hii nchi ni kubwa kushinda sisi wote. Hauwezi enda police station uende uchokoze polisi. Hii ni kama kutupa nchi kwa mtaro. So hiyo kwanza mjue. Hii aturudi nyuma. Mtu yote unataka kufanya maandamano, kwanza anza maandamano na bibi yako na watoto yako. Ndio ukuje venye watu wengine wako. Kwa sababu sisi tumenyamaza, tumekuwa wangwana. Ile serikali nyingine yote hapo nyuma iliua watu wengi sana. Na sisi tukasema tunataka tujitoe, hatutaki mauaji. Na ukichunguza kwa hii serikali ya Kenya kwanza, hakuna mtu amekufa ati alichukuliwa na akapotea na akapatikana sijui wapi. Ni hao tu wanaenda wanachokoza polisi hapo. Niliona naona mwingine anachokoza mama mwingine polisi yako na mimba ati toka hapa na mimba yako sijui nini. What do you expect from police? So mkifanya maandamano mjue sasa tumeweka limits. Kwa sababu hatuwezi poteza inji kwa sababu ya ujinga wako na bangi yako. Ukuja usubuka hapo useme Ruto must go. Ruto must go, ongoja Ruto kwa debe. Na mimi naambia hawa watu mtashangaa. Tutashinda nyinyi asubuhi mapema. Nilikuwa nasikia wengine wanasema ati nilisema ati kura isipojaa tutajaza. Nataka nirudie tena nimwambie hawa. Hiyo kura isipojaa itajazwa, itajaa.
I'm making this when I have did interviewed with several analysts and opinion shapers in this country. And one of the factors coming out clearly is the people in the street. Some of these people have nothing to lose. In fact, they don't even fear dying. Remember, there has been a question that has been asked over time that Ojwang died when Ojwang was in police custody. So where is safe? The threat by Oscar Sudi repeatedly saying that Kura isipotosha tutajaza. I think Oscar Sudi is saying it for the third time. He's saying it for the third time. And that is already ina umeza watu. Because the people are saying that there is a problem and one of the demands is Ruto must go. Then you are saying kura isipotosha tutajaza. I don't know what they want to achieve. The third other aspect where I'm saying it's a big blunder on Oscar Sudi clip is supporting the shoot to kill. Even Murkomen himself got a backlash and has been trying to explain, had been trying to make a spin about that. That is one video to show you that actually the state is talking public anger. The second incident happened in Kiambu. DCP youth leader Wanjiku Thiga and Kawanjiru, these two leaders, were released on free bond today. And after immediately they were released, they said detectives were waiting for them outside the courts and whisked them away. And I have maintained that these two, the DCI, the youth leaders, were actually being arrested linked to the protest that happened on J 25th. So if you release them today, I strongly believe you will then actually deflate the issue about protest. Yesterday something happened when Diangui was released. He was released and people said self-abduction was a narrative to deflate the protest. Now, they have been released, and I want to believe those who released these two gentlemen wanted to deflate the public anger. They are giving the youth another reason to go to Kiambu. And what happened in Kiambu was a confrontation between the family of the young people who actually went into the station.
Ati? Tunaingia. Nini wewe? What is that? You're not going to live in fear in this country. No! This is a police station! This is a police station! Shika, police station! We are live, lazima! Hii ni mali ya umma! Hai bwana! No, hii ni mali ya umma! Hii ni mali ya umma! Let's be live! Maafisa, hii ni mali ya umma! Kwa nini tunatutia kwa police station? Tunatutia kwa police station! Iko live demo. Ako wapi? Si tunamtaka, ako wapi? Ako wapi? Tunataka kumuona. Koti haiwezi sema aachiliwe. Ako wapi? Ako wapi? Ako wapi? Ako wapi? Ako wapi? Even the lawyer has been attacked.
Demanding the two to be released. I have maintained here and again the anti-Kikuyu propaganda that is being pushed by some state mandarins is designed and intended to mainstream and justify the illegal detentions and abductions of young opposition political activists in this country. And it is not something that is actually welcome. Today, just 2 days to Sabasaba, we are again detaining youth leaders instead of releasing them, leaving them out, because remember, they are being released on free bond because there is no evidence that they are the ones that financed the protest. Look at the other one. The story leaked that the government was building a church in State House. The Nation did that story. And no politician had even reacted. I listened to the speeches by opposition rallies in Western. No one had issued any statement on that. Not even the president's handlers had even come out. And the president himself, in his first reaction to it, comes out publicly to lie about the fact that he's using public money, he's using private money, his personal money, to build a church for the State House.
Hapa State House. Ni kweli, mimi najenga kanisa hapa State House. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Hapa State House nilikuja nikakuta kanisa ya mabati. Kanisa ya mabati inatoshana na State House. Hata kwa maoni yenu. So, nasijengi na pesa ya serikali, mimi najenga na pesa yangu. Hapa nitakuja kuwapeleka siku nyingine tuende tuombe huko. So, nilikuta mimi sijaanzisha kanisa State House, nilikuta kanisa ikiweko. Shida tu ilikuwa ya mabati. Sasa nimeamua nijenge kanisa inatoshana na State House. Na haitagharimu serikali ya Kenya peni moja. Nitajenga na pesa zangu kwa sababu kanisa ya Mungu ni mahali ambapo panatoshana na heshima.
In fact, he's even giving youth more impetus and more fodder to that, because how can you say you are building a church now and 1.2 billion that has been quoted at a time when the different factors that are not working? I strongly believe so. It is not. In fact, if you allow me to play another video, I will play it here with you later. This kind of tone, kwamba hakuna kitu mtafanya na nyinyi ni mashetani, it's not. Remember last year protest, day 25 of last year, there was something about opulence, that the political class is spending more money on matters that are not really helping the people. Look at those three. And if you want to know, the Saba hype is something that is there. In Homa Bay, during the burial of Albert's wife was actually calling on those young people and saying that she will join them on 7th on Monday, demanding justice for the husband.
Comrade power. What should I watch the war? Ilungani Nevnina Onyango, Anya Kakdimu, Ane Alberto Juang. Adogo nu Comrade Zero Kamano Maduong, Nikesuse. So it means a lot. Koro, Moselindo Albert Nenga Longo. To Osekalo kaka okale elwet police motimoneki manoti meno. But again on the Udo justice. To justice ni odi Udo mana kukonyo watu kuchunkodwa. Comrades power. Okay, yeah. Koro Tarika Birio El birthday mar Albert Tokendo en Saba Adwani Mungo ko wate wa celebrate birthday Albert Tokendo kwa fight ne justice ne. Comrades power.
So I don't know. I'm making this political. I'm making this opposition. These observations based on what we are actually seeing. We are not really speaking the language of the people, and that is why I started by telling you, I believe that it's either by not knowing or intentionally. But if you ask my opinion, intentionally, the state knows that these things we are doing can actually provoke the masses to protest. So one question then the country must be wary about is, why is it that those who are supposed to vouch for peace are working tirelessly to stoke public anger? Yes. In fact, if you listen to the opposition politicians, I've listened to the speeches during the 2 days Western tour. They're not talking about Sabasaba. Yes. There is no way they're telling people to come out and protest. I think they've found it, the decision they've made is to disassociate with the Gen Z. And look at something I'd always raised, that when the government is talking about Gen Z protest, they are only taking the issue of infiltrated and then goons destroy people's properties. So why are they doing things that will stoke public anger? I have never taken cognizance of this, but carefully, protests are being used to reframe the 2027 excuse. And someone wants to manufacture an excuse narrative. What is an excuse narrative? Excuse narrative is that things are not working. Let me tell you, I've listened to the president talking about in Kiambu today that 300,003 people have registered for SHA. And there is a lie being made in public here that you just need to register for SHA, then you will get health services. You just need to register. That's a lie. If you go to a referral hospital today, go to a public hospital today, and for SHA to work, let's say it, the hospitals are demanding that you pay 12 months upfront. 12 months upfront. Yes, it will start working immediately, but you have to pay 12 months premiums upfront. That is not being said in rallies. And second observation, affordable houses that are complete, quite a number of them are vacant. And the government is a broke landlord in the affordable housing units. Someone wants this chaos, and mark this podcast, the next 2 or 3 months, the state will start counting how the protest has disrupted them, and they should be given more time to deliver. I can tell you this is coming, and it will be accumulated that we had protest in 2023, Litusumbua, we had protest in 2024, now we had protest in 2025. Someone wants to use this to bring an excuse. The other second objective, why the state is a key player in stoking public anger, the instability that is coming from this public rage can be used as a tool of postponing the general elections. And you know one thing, it's their hands. Let me tell you something happening. Even career politicians, even MPs, are threatened of the next election. And remember, if not elections, then even by-elections. If not elections, then by-elections. And this is the sequence. You've seen a bill tabled in Parliament to try to... Bill being tabled in Parliament to midwife something on protests. Another bill might come on this. The third aspect, objective of the government being a key player in stoking anger, I think economy is going to be, the state of economy is going to be reframed based on these protests. United Nations report is warning Kenya that they risk debt, they're in debt distress. These protests, and that is why you can see the looting of property, this and there. I want to believe the state can actually stop goons who are looting properties, because protesters, we are all in agreement. Both opposition and government are all in agreement that it is not the Gen Zs who are looting, breaking into supermarkets. It is not them. Those are goons. But then we are all in agreement, those are goons, but we, all of us also know that it is the responsibility of government to protect those properties. Someone wants to recreate a narrative around the economy. And lastly, protests are happening, and the state is framing that those who are revolting about Kenya Kwanza are the Gamer Nation. Someone is talking that, and if you look at the trend, why would you arrest the two from Kiambu? And they want to make sure that protests happen, and most importantly, target the Kikuyu Nation. In fact, I can tell you, even through proxies, while they are saying that opposition is funding, it could be that the government itself is funding. If they are being funded, then the government itself is even funding them, so that they can push a narrative of Kikuyu are the ones against government. I've seen this. I've seen Gideon Mungaro speaking in Kilifi. Listen to what Gideon Mungaro is saying here. And one question still puzzles me is this. When Kindiki and Ichung'was listen to people speaking ill about Kikuyu Nation, how do they afford to keep quiet? Iyo damu aichemki ufikiri hawa sasa wanatuchokoza? Yeah, because even me, I'm so truthful, but there's a time unaweza ongea sana about the law until I feel, no hapo, now that is too close. And that is why I believe the state is a key player in planning those protests. Tuonane ingine bana.